our first story. Call up Lisa Frank. We've got a warning. The direct-to-consumer unicorns you know and you love are injured.
They're not direct anymore. They're putting the middleman back in.
The middleman is going back, baby. Okay, Jack, you are not on the subway on that 4 train commuting unless you see a millennial ad for a direct-to-consumer hand soap company.
The mattress looks delicious.
Jack, do you sleep on a Casper or do you eat a Casper?
We're talking about the direct-to-consumer startups, the pastel color palette, that gorgeous font, which is basically just the brand name and a sans serif font.
No serif. They just raised, $400 million to just revolutionize and reinvent the footstool for people.
You know who we're talking about. Warby Parker, Allbirds, Casper. They all had the same business model. Cut out the middleman and sell directly to you, mostly online.
Well, here is the situation Jack and I are noticing. That herd of direct-to-consumer unicorns, they're all public now.
And they're all losing their horns.
For example, Jack, let's sprinkle on a little context here. Warby Parker, the eyeglasses direct-to-consumer phenom, they just announced that revenue rose just 10% last quarter.
I need bifocals to see that tiny little growth.
Jack, let's head over to another part of your clothing. Allbirds just announced last week that their shoe revenues only rose 26% last quarter.
That's not unicorn speed, Nick. That's a hobbled pony.
And then our buddies over at Casper, the master of the mattress, they're not even public anymore.
Casper stock fell so far, they got scooped up by a private equity firm.
But what Jack and I find fascinating here is that all these direct-to-consumer unicorns are finding that the rainbows they relied on for growth are fading.
Yes. The first rainbow they relied on for growth is ads.
Yes.
The problem is Zuck has jacked up the prices for Instagram ads big time.
So Casper can't spend all their VC money to fill your feed with mattress promos.
The second issue is targeting, because those Instagram ads don't target as well anymore because of iPhone's privacy updates.
Now it's harder to pummel all those 18 to 24-year-olds living in the West Village with a mattress ad.
And the third issue is a phenomenon known as blanding.
Not branding, we're talking about blanding.
The distinctive brands soaked in that millennial gloss that doesn't stand out in your Instagram feed anymore. In fact, it just blends in.
Yeah, because there's so many cute copycat logos out there, the brands are starting to look a little bit more bland.
When a Casper knockoff has been knocked off, you know there's a problem.
So if you add all that up, everything we just sprinkled on there, the icons of direct-to-consumer still aren't close to profitability.
And their growth has run out.
So Jack, what's the takeaway for our direct-to-consumer legends?
D2C is now I2C. The direct-to-consumer unicorns are now indirect-to-consumer.
Yeah, a new thing. We're noticing these D2C brands are desperately turning to old school brick and mortar retailers.
Right, like Allbirds. They announced in February a deal to sell their shoes at Nordstrom.
Harry's razors are sold in Walmart, CVS, Walgreens. Jack, there's a bodega down the street from me selling Harry's razors.
Casper has been sold in Target for years. Even Peloton CEO confirmed they're looking for a retailer to sell their bikes.
So the way Jack and I see it, these DTC originals are becoming ITC, indirect to consumer.
They're adding the middleman back in.